Welcome to EPG Pathshala. I am Dr. Danish Moin, Associate Professor, Department of History, Maulana Azad National Urdu University, Hyderabad. Our subject is Indian culture and the paper is Indian numismatics. And the title of the paper is The Mughal Coinage. In this, we are going to discuss or we are going to understand the coinage of Mughal rulers, primarily coins of Babur, Humayun, Akbar, Jahangir, Shah Jahan and Aurangzeb. And emphasis will be given on the typology of their coinage. Like Delhi Sultanate and Deccan Sultanate, the Mughal also issued their coinage on Islamic pattern. The Mughal coinage tradition began with Babur, the founder of the empire, but the Mughal currency took its final shape during the time of Akbar. Babur founded the Mughal dynasty in 1526 CE after defeating Lodi Sultan Ibrahim Lodi. Babur issued his coins in silver and copper. His silver coins, which are broad and thin flank, are known as Shahrukhi. The Shahrukhi coins were issued in the weight standard of about 4.5 gram with kalma and the name of great caliph on the one side and ruler's name with the title, date, mint, name on the other side. His silver coins are known from Agra, Lahore, Jaunpur and Kabul mint. Copper coins for Babur are anonymous in the sense they do not bear his name and they only have the name, only the date and mint name reported from Agra, Kabul and Lahore. Even Jaunpur is also reported. Here is a coins where we can see very well kalma in the circle and margin portion we can see the name of great caliph Ali, Abu Bakr Siddiq, Umar, Usman and Ali with their epithet. On the other side it is written Al-Sultan Al-Azam, Zahiruddin Babur, Basha Ghazi. These are the information which we can see on the coins of Babur. Now next is of course Humayun. Humayun, the son and successor of Babur, is known to have issued coins in gold, silver and copper. His coinage may be understood in two phases. The first phase, because he is in 1530 to 1540, because in 40 he was defeated by Sher Shah Suri and he had to left India for Persia. He has spent 10 years, roughly 10 years in roughly 15 years in Persia, and after that he recaptured the throne. So in the first phase he issued silver Shahrukhi along with the anonymous copper phallus. Like his father had issued Shahrukhi coins, he too had issued coins in same manner, the same weight standard. And then copper coins were also anonymous as in the case of Babur. Beside a few gold coins of Shahrukhi pattern were also issued. Gold coins of Humayun is not very commonly known. However, it is reported a few, and that is on the same pattern. His coins are known from Delhi, Agra, Jaunpur and Lucknow. These are the mints issued in copper and silver. By the time he recaptured the throne of Mughal, the Indian currency system under the rule of Sher Shah Suri and his successor had taken perfect shape in the form of rupiah, weight about 11 grams. In his second phase, his silver coins were issued on the weight standard of rupiah, and the copper coins in the second phase is issued in the weight standard of 9.5 gram. What is very important, in the second phase that not much has been changed. The change is what we can see here in the second phase, that Suri rupee, the 10-11 gram weight was common in the circulation. Though he spent, when he recaptured the throne of India, he issued coins in a similar manner. So his silver coins are reported in rupiah weight standard. However, no change has been made in his copper coins, like all 9.57 grams that is reported even in the early period, in the first phase, even in the second phase. Now we are going to discuss the coin, exactly coin. We can have a look of the coins. We can have a look of the coins. Here we see this is Shahrukhi coins, kalma is there on the one side and Muhammad Humayun by Shah Ghazi in the circle. And in the margin we have Al-Sultan, Al-Khaqan, Al-Mukarram. These information is available in the margin. Next coin, we have to talk about the Akbar. When we talk about Akbar, we have to understand the perfect shape of Mughal currency was given by Akbar. So in fact, the currency system of Akbar was primarily based on the Suri coinage, but some modification and changes were made from time to time, which made it distinct. Akbar issued coins in gold, silver and copper. These were called as mohar, rupiah, dam or falus or tanka respectively. The gold and silver coins were issued in the weight estimate of 11 to 11.5 gram with their denomination. Dam or falus weight about 20 grams. Akbar in his 48th regnal year issued copper coins in the weight of roughly 40 grams and called them tanka. Like gold and silver, his copper coins are also known in various denominations. Some of his copper coins, particularly Tanka series, are found with a denomination inscribed on them in the words such as Neem Tanka, Tanka, Chahar Tanka, Hissa Chahar. These are the information we are getting from them. We can have a look of the coins. Typology, before we go for the coinage, we will have a discussion on typology. The coinage of Akbar may broadly be divided into two groups. The division of coins is based on two different dating systems used on his coins named Hijri and Elahi. His coins in all three metals, gold, silver, copper, adopted the same dating system. The gold and silver coins are issued on similar typology, while copper coins adopted a different typology. The typology will be discussed. We can see the typology. One is Hijri type coins. Hijri type coins of Akbar continue till 38th regnal year. Apart from the Hijri date, the gold and silver coins of Akbar bear kalma and the name of four great caliph, Umar, Abu Bakr, Usman, Ali, with or without their epithet, and Jalaluddin Muhammad Basha Ghazi with date and mints on the other. Let's discuss the coins of Akbar till this period, and then we can go ahead with the other talk. Why these have been divided into two groups? I said Hijri is a calendar, and most of the rulers in medieval period had issued coins in Hijri date, either in the form of numerals or in the form of words. But Hijri is the most common date. Akbar too had issued coins in Hijri date, but after a certain period, in 38th regnal year, he stopped using Hijri date on the coins and introduced a new calendar. And this new calendar, and that became a basis for me to to make the division of the coins. So the first series which we can see is the Hijri coins. Why Hijri? Hijri is a calendar, Islamic calendar. It was introduced in 622 AD. The beginning, of course, we consider for 620. If we are not introduced in 620, we begin the beginning of Hijri calendar can be traced to 620 AD because it was the important date for Islamic mythology that Prophet Muhammad migrated from Makkah to Medina, and that is the beginning of Hijri date. So this is one, and the one category is then, and second, when we talk about the Hijri coins, we have certain important thing to understand. These are the coins which bear kalma on the one side with great caliph, name of great caliph, with or without their epithets, and other side writing the name of Akbar, like Jalaluddin Muhammad, Akbar, Basha, Ghazi, date and mints can be seen. The other thing which we have to see, we have to understand is the second type, that is called Elahi type. We have to see the second type. Before going for that, we will have a look of the coins, how it was issued and how it looks. You see the coins here is Hijri type coins. As I said kalma, you can see kalma in the center. Margin area is for the name of great caliph, while this side you can see al-Sultan al-Azam. This side you can see the Jalaluddin Muhammad Basha Ghazi, Jalaluddin Muhammad Akbar Basha Ghazi, and this you can see Zarb Jaunpur is there. The other is also in a square, but similar inscription can be seen. But this was from a different mint, not this was from Fatehpur mint. We can see that was a gold coins. by Akbar. He too had issued this type coins in copper. I mean, in copper we can see the copper coins is very interesting because these has anonymous. We are not getting the name of Akbar, Akbar's name in the coin. Like his father and grandfather, he too had not issued coins wherein inscription, wherein his name is appearing. In the early phase, the second phase we'll discuss a little later. In the first phase, what he did, he has not issued coins wherein the name is written. Only one side he is writing date in words as well as numerals, like Nahsad, Hashtad, Yak, this is one side, and Falus, Zarab, that is one side. Well, coming to the Mughal coinage, particularly the Akbar coinage or the Ilahi type, what is Ilahi type? Let me understand first. Akbar in his 29 and 38 regnal year introduced Ilahi calendar, which began from the date of his accession, that is 1556 or 963 Hijri date. It adopted the month name from Zoroastrian calendar, that is Persian calendar, Zoroastrian calendar, and the month name is Farvardin, Ardi-Bahish, Khurdad, Tir, Amardad, Shahryar, Meher, Aban, Azr, Di, Bahman, Asfandarmuz. These are the name of the mint which is written. And then number two is Ilahi coins are in gold and silver were issued without the name of Akbar. Very important thing is there, because this is a type where Akbar is not using in his own name. While earlier we have witnessed that the name is always there, ruler's name is prime feature. But in this particular period we are not getting the name of Akbar. What he did, he write one side Allahu Akbar Jalle Jalalahu. Other side he is saying that the month name, Ilahi month, regnal year, mint name. For example, if you want to say, one side is Meher 42, Meher Ilahi, month Azar, for example, Ilahi and mint name is coming. So this is the way how it is being written, and it became the calligraphy being used in this is a very dominant calligraphy, very killer calligraphy. Of course, calligraphy is nostalgic, but it is very permanently written, very clearly written. And inscription became smaller, so it became more easy to read. We have some coins which we can see here. Before going for coins, we'll have a discussion on copper coins also, because silver and gold were issued in similar pattern. Copper has a different standard to weight standard as well as the typology. So silver typology is what? I mean, they neither bear Allahu Akbar Jalla Jalaluhu nor bear the name of Akbar, but mention the mint name Ilahi month with regnal year. That is the main thing. It is described as Falus on the one side and regnal year Ilahi month name on the other. Akbar in his 48th regnal year introduced heavy copper coins of 40 grams and termed as Tanka. And then coins of this series bear the name inscribed as Tanka Akbar Shahi on the one side and Ilahi month date on the other. This you need to understand properly. What is Tanka series? The Tanka series of Akbar is a new type of coins which Akbar introduced in his 48th regnal year. In this category, Akbar has made some important changes. Like this series, Akbar started using his own name. It is bearing the name Tankai Akbar Shahi. This very clearly, it means Akbar's name is appearing on the coins on the one side. And this is a heavy coins, weight of 40 grams. And the Akbar has given the term Tanka for his 40 grams coin. Though generally we know Dam, but for his 48 regnal he called Tanka. The other important aspect of Tanka series is, this is a series wherein we get the denotation inscribed on the coins. We generally do not, in medieval period or ancient period, we are not having the date and the denotation written on that. We are attributing or we are understanding on the basis of the weight standard. If you have 11 gram, 5 grams and 0.5 gram, so this is the denotation. But here it has been clearly mentioned, Neem Tanka, it means half Tanka, then 1/4 Tanka. So these are the information we are getting from the coins. Like we have some coins, we can see the coins. Here you see Allahu Akbar Jalle Jalalahu is written very clearly. Meher is written, Meher is the month name, Ilahi is the creed, and Zar 50 is there. Mint was Agra. Similar type coins, but it is in a square, Allahu Akbar Jalla Jalaluhu, and this month is different. Ardi Bahisht, there we have read 50, here we read 37, and the mint name in this coin is coming Lahore. So Zarb Lahore, Zarb Agra, and then month name is Ardi Bahish. So you get many more information from the coins. Now you have started date killer, the regnal year, and as well as date years, as well as month name. That is very important. We have some other coins. This is also the same type coins, but in silver coins. Allahu Akbar Jalla Jalaluhu. Here month is coming the different one. D is a month name. And 46 is regnal year is coming, and then this Patna was the mint for that. Copper coins were also issued. In copper coins, they write Ilahi and the month name, and Falus Ilahi. That can be seen on the coin. Next, we can have coins Mughal Akbar and other type. Akbar coins, this was the major classification which I made. I mean, this was the Hijri calendar, and this was the major classification. So broadly, to understand properly, we try to understand in this manner. But apart from that, there are certain important type of coins of Akbar which need to be mentioned here. Very interesting coins. I mean, like for example, Akbar was a ruler who had issued coins with depiction of Ram and Sita. That is a very important type of coins, where one side Akbar is issuing coins of depiction of Ram and Sita, other side he is writing Ilahi Creed, month name. Similarly, Akbar had also issued coins in a different type, which is called Mehrabi type. Mehrabi is a type of coins, is a architecture shape, and that is also used for coins of Akbar. And then he has also issued coins wherein we can see the bird is appearing, the falcon, and sometimes falcon or duck is appearing on his coin. Hawk, in fact not duck, hawk is appearing on his coin. That is bird type coins we call. These are some not commonly found coins, but has been reported. And the next series in this, we have to understand the local pattern coins. Akbar was the ruler who had introduced not only the Mughal coinage as right from only Mughal coinage tradition, but he also followed some local tradition coins. For example, 3 examples can be given here. Number 1 is Kashmir coins. When Akbar captured, he issued coin from Kashmir on the pattern of Kashmiri coins, because the coin which was in circulation, that was adopted by Akbar. Similarly, Gujarat Sultan. When Gujarat was captured by Akbar, he issued coins on Gujarat pattern. When Malwa was captured by Akbar, he issued coins on the Malwa pattern. So this is 3 important type where we can see the coin type of is continued. I mean, the coin types prevalent there was continued by Akbar for a period, and then of course his own style coins were issued. But in the beginning, he simply tried to issue the coins. The reason I have already explained why these were issued the coins, because the simple reason was acceptance among the masses. Similar theory can also be applied for the, if you go by earlier things I discussed in the earlier Bull and Horseman type coins and Lakshmi type coins. It was issued because of acceptance of the masses. That was the main reason why in these rulers used to copy the coins of earlier dynasty. In the next series, we have some coins. You can see I said Mehrabi type coins. The number 1 is Mehrabi type coins. Then you can also see the coins of Ram Sita type, where Ram and Sita is seen. Then we can see the coin from Kashmir. We can also see coin from the Gujarat. Here Akbar's name is written, Jalaluddin Muhammad Akbar Basha, and Kanma on the one side. But the typology which he followed is of course Gujarat Sultan. And here Kashmir. The same name is of course Akbar, but it is on the same pattern. Next, another type is couplet. Couplet is first noticed on Indian coins. I said in the earlier talk also that it was Gujarat Sultan who introduced couplet for the first time. But among Mughal, if you talk, it was Akbar who introduced couplet, and that too from Allahabad mint. And in this coins, he has used couplet. His name is written, but in the form of a couplet. That is very important coins in Allahabad, from Allahabad. Then we can see discuss a few. I mean, mint is of course very important, because when we discuss the coins of Mughal or any Delhi Sultanate, so we need to know from where coins were issued. Though the Mughal Akbar coins are in plenty, number of coins are reported, but all the mints are not being explained. But some of the mints' name are being explained here: Agra, Fatehpur, Delhi, Ajmer, Lahore, Burhanpur, Ahmedabad, Patna, Kabul, Thatta, Kashmir, etc. are the some important mints. Sometimes the mints are inscribed with their epithets, such as Darul Sultan, Darul Khalafa. The various names, epithet have been Darul Jihad, and a lot of things have been given to the these rulers. This was about the Akbar coins. Now coming to the next ruler, we have the coins of Jahangir. Jahangir, the son and successor of Akbar, more or less followed the existing coin type, but in his early period, he made two important changes in his coinage. What changes? Reintroduced Hijri date on the coinage along with Ilahi month. So was very important thing. He reintroduced the Hijri date, which Akbar has stopped in 38 regnal year. It was reintroduced by Jahangir. Then increased the weight standard of existing coinage by 20% and then 5%. I mean, the first thing he did, whatever the weight standard was adopted by Akbar, he increased 20%, again by 5%. So roughly 25% weight standard was increased by Jahangir, but that too for a few years. When a representation from the merchant class has gone there, received by Jahangir, and then he had taken decision to issue coins on the weight standard of issued by Akbar, and that was good. But that was the reason why some of the coins of early date are in heavier weight standard of Jahangir period. His coins were issued in various types, but maybe divided into following types. The number of types are there, but broadly, for just general information, Kalma along with his father, and Kalma type coins with his name along with his father's name. Couplet type coins, coins in the name of his wife Noor Jahan, zodiac type coins, portrait type coins, and local pattern coins. This I am going to discuss with you. The Kalma type coins. Kalma is not a new concept in Indian coinage. Right from the beginning we have been discussing. Even in Akbar's period we have number of coins stated with this issued with this term. He too had issued Kalma coins, but in his coins we do not find any coins wherein name of great caliph is described. So this one side he is writing Kalma with the date, and Zarb, when Zarb is there, mint is there, and other side he is writing Nuruddin Muhammad Jahangir Shah bin Akbar Shah. So here he is the only ruler in Mughal dynasty who is using his father's name on the coins. No rulers of Mughal, I mean even Shah Jahan or Aurangzeb, they have not issued coins where their father's name is appearing. So this is the first series we can have a look on these coins. The coins is very good condition coins, it's the gold coins. Now the second category which we have to discuss, the second type is the coin issued in the name of his wife. Actually, Noor Jahan was his wife and was a powerful lady in the court of Jahangir, and even the coins were issued in her name. But the legend declared that it was coins were issued in her name by the order of Jahangir. But this shows the importance of Noor Jahan in the eyes of Jahangir. Then I discuss with you zodiac type coins. What is zodiac type coins? We'll have a discussion. We know we have 12 zodiacs. All these zodiac coins are reported by Jahangir's coins, and from where it has taken. Earlier Akbar had issued coins wherein he started writing month name. So instead of writing month name, apart from writing month name, he also adopted one series where all the zodiac can be represented. So all 12 zodiacs are represented, and that too both in silver and gold coins. This is one. The other important series, but these are the rare coins, this is not fine good number. I'm just talking about the portrait type coins. Some of the coins of Jahangir reported in gold where his portrait can be seen. Three different types of portraits are very important. One is rulers having some fruit or something in his hand on the one side, other side is lion and rising sun. That is on the one side. The second type of portrait is a globe or a wine of cup or cup in his hand. That is also there. And then we have is a book or something holding in something he's holding something on his hand. So this type of different portrait is seen on the coins. Not only his own portrait, even he had issued portrait of his fathers on the coins. On the one side, and other side, rising sun and land. That is probably in Belamambuga. So this is next type of the coins of Jahangir. Then I was supposed to discuss slightly about the coins of local tradition. As Akbar has discussed, as Akbar had issued coins on local pattern, Jahangir too had issued coins on local pattern. That is from the Deccan region, where when he captured the area of Nizam Shahi some of the area came under control. He issued coins on a similar pattern, wherein Fi Shahur Sana is written and Jahangir Shah is written. So local pattern from Nizam Shahi pattern is also reported. And the silver coins of is issued not only in the one various denominations can also seen for silver coins. Half rupee and quarter rupees can also be seen, and then copper coins of Jahangir is also reported. A few is illustrated here. Jahangir Shahi Falus on the one side, Zarb on the other side, Zarb Ajmer or something. Then coming to our next ruler, which we have to discuss, like his predecessor Shah Jahan. Everybody knows Shah Jahan was very important ruler, one most popular ruler because of probably Taj Mahal. Like his predecessor, Shah Jahan too issued coins in gold, silver and copper and followed the weighted standard of the coins of Akbar. Typologically, gold coins and silver coins are similar, while copper coins follow different typology. Gold and silver coins were issued mainly with kalma along with the name of four great caliph, with or without their epithet on the one side, and Shah Jahan Badshah Ghazi along with the laqab Shahabuddin Sahib Qirasani with mint and date on the other. This was on the silver and gold coins. Now we can see Sahib Qirasani. What is Sahib Qirasani? This means Lord of Fortune, and this was first adopted by Taimur, because Taimur belongs to the same family, Shah Jahan. So to whom Mughal trace their lineage, so from father's side. That was the reason why he called second, Sani means second. So he is calling himself second, he is calling himself Sahib Qirasani. So Lord of Fortune, second. So first is Taimur and second is in. So this is one legend, new legend was introduced on his coins, and not much variation is seen on his coins, primarily with this thing. And then his copper coins are coins where Falus, Shah Jahan on the one side and mint name and date on the other. Jahangir and Shah Jahan are also known to have issued coins, some of their copper coins in the pattern of Nizam Shahi of Ahmednagar. Like Jahangir, he also issued coins on the, like Jahangir I discussed with you, he issued coins on local pattern Nizam Shahi. Shah Jahan too issued coins in similar pattern. Here one can see the coins of Shah Jahan where Kalma is in the square, and then name of great caliph with their epithet is in the margin. Similarly, Badshah Ghazi, Shah Jahan Badshah Ghazi is in the square, and the margin Muhammad Sahib Qirasani, Shahabuddin. This is on the margin area. Now next is we can see the next coin where the same type, only thing is that the typology is different, the content is almost same, but the placement of legend is different. Again here Kalma in the name of great caliph is seen, and this side we can see the Badshah Ghazi, Shahabuddin Muhammad, Shah Jahan, Sahib Qirasani, Zarb Akbarabad, that we can see. Next we are going to see some of the coins of Shah Jahan in copper. These are the few copper coins from Lucknow Mint, and then some other mint also is seen, wherein Falus Shah Jahan is written, that we have seen. Now interestingly, we have come to the coins of Aurangzeb, which has an important position in the history of Indian coinage, because this is a period when we witness a great change. So before discussing the great change and all that, we'll just read, and then I'll just discuss with you. Aurangzeb, the son and successor of Shah Jahan, is known to have issued coins in gold, silver and copper. His gold coins and silver coins are issued in the weighted standard of 11 gram, about 11 gram of course. The copper coins of his early year are issued with the diamond standard, that is 20 grams, but the latter in 6th signal year he reduced the weight of his copper coins to 14 grams. Aurangzeb also made important changes in the inscription of Mughal coinage. He discarded kalma and the name of caliph from the coins. A new legend was introduced which is secular in nature. His coins, his silver coins and gold coins were issued with the legend Sikka Zacchu Badre Munir Jahan Shah Aurangzeb Alamgir on the one side and Manus Memnunus Salah Julus. This Manus Memnunus Salah Julus is a new word which was introduced on the coins of Aurangzeb. But before going for actual coins, let's have a discussion on it. What is important here? Important is that for the last three lectures I've been discussing the important aspect that the Islamic type coins were always with the religious information. This concept of religious information, which is my view, I've been using this term very quite often on my papers and my books, and also here you have to understand the theory or the concept which I have given for that is valid till Shah Jahan. Because after Shah Jahan, the Indian coinage tradition witnessed new types. Like no coins of Aurangzeb has been reported with kalma, name of caliph or Quranic verses, nothing. It's only his name is appearing in the form of a couplet, which I say Sikka Zacchu Badre Munir Aurangzeb Alamgir Shah. This is one side. Other side, he introduced 5 words. These words is known as Manus, Mamnamat, Sana, Zarb, Julus. These are the words which were introduced, and it continued for Indian coins for a long period. Even if after the death of Aurangzeb, his successor too issued coins on the pattern of Aurangzeb. Except 1 or 2 coins where Alamgir II we can see where the kalma is seen, Alamgir II probably. Otherwise, no coins of Mughal is with kalma and religious information. So in that case, Aurangzeb was the man who introduced his coins primarily on the secular nature. That is where religion religious inscription has no place on his coins. That is one information which one to share. Typologically, not much has been divided, but if you want for typology, we can divide it into couplet with Badre Munir and Mehre Munir. Badre Munir and the couplet is almost same. The only difference is that one word, Badr, sometimes Meher. So that was I call it Badre Munir type. This is the type which we can see Aurangzeb Alamgir Shah, Zacchu Badre Munir, Sikka Dar Jahan, and Manus Memnunus Sana Julus Zarb. This is the coins, in all the coins. But this type is different than the earlier one. This is the Mohiuddin type coins. Here he is not issuing coins with the couplet. Couplet is not visible on the coins. He is writing in this side his full name, Mohiuddin Muhammad Aurangzeb Bahadur Abul Muzaffar, one side, and then Basha Ghazi Shah Alamgir Shah Alamgir. So these are the inscriptions written on the one side. Other side he is writing Zarb Akbarabad, that we can see in the square, and Manus Memnunus Sana Julus on the margin. This was about the Mohiuddin coins, Mohiuddin type coins. Then we have other type which we can have a look of this. This is copper coins of Aurangzeb. And this is the Julus Mubarak type and Aurangzeb Falus Shahi type. So this is the Falus Shahi. Aurangzeb issued coins with the Falus Shahi type, and then also issued the coins with the Julus Mubarak type. So these are 2 types. Coins of the successor of Aurangzeb. After the death of Aurangzeb, the Mughal Empire witnessed its gradual disintegration, but the coinage tradition of Mughal continued for a long period in India. Shah Alam Bahadur, the son and successor of Aurangzeb, followed the coin type of his father, bearing his name in the form of a couplet on the one side and Manus Memnunus Sana Julus on the other. And then we can see the coins of his successor. His successor Jahandar Shah, Farrukh Shah, Rafi Darjat, Rafi-ud-Dawla, Muhammad Shah, Ahmad Shah, Shah Alam II, etc. are issued coins on the pattern of coins of Aurangzeb. Here is some coins. We can see the coins of Shah Alam Bahadur, Shah Alam I, wherein is a Shah Alam Basha Ghazi is written, and on one side Julus Manus Memon Masana is written, which I said. It was followed by. Similarly, the coins of Farrukh Shah. Farrukh Shah issued coins with the couplet, Sikka Zad Az Fazl Haq, Bar Sim Bazar Basha Bahro Bar Farrukh Shah on the one side, another side Darul Khulafa Shah Jahan Zarb Manus Memon Masana. This was on the coins of Farrukh Shah. While summarizing my talk, we can say the changes in the inscription introduced by Aurangzeb were followed by his successors. Even the coinage of princely estate and East India Company were issued on the pattern. The word Manus Memunasana Julus were more or less continue in Indian coins till 1857. And in the case of coinage of Nizam of Hyderabad, it remained till 1947. Thank you. For more detail, you can visit EPG Pathshala. Thank you very much.